Well, hello. Hello. Hi, Dave and Kiri. Good evening to you. Woohoo. Dave, I know you're here first because this subject is right up your wheelhouse. I know it's Michigan Daffodil. Hello. Oh, Kiri. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it hasn't been coming in. Interesting. Well, I'm so glad that you're here and that you remember to come and that you've made it. So, Sunflower Marsha, hello. Alicia, hi. Your kitchen is still sticky. Well, that was just yesterday. So, I don't. You're doing well to have it sticky just after one day. So, um, now, how long does maple syrup season last for you? Is it because I mean, it's like you've got to get out there and get them right away, and then they run. And sometimes they'll run and stop, and then run and stop, and everything. So, is it an average of like 3 weeks or something? Um, and I know it's different for everybody in the different areas, but um, so just wondering about that. Alicia, do you have a new avatar? Unless I just hadn't noticed it before. So sorry about this. This year it was almost 7 weeks. Oh my goodness, usually it's 5. Okay. I'm sorry, I just didn't notice it before. I'm looking at everybody's names and words, and I don't look at the avatars very much. Oh, well, then it is different than what it used to be, right? Oh, hey, Farmer Nadell. Hello. Hello. I haven't seen you for a while. Thank you for being here. You were contacted by a first grade teacher asking for eggs to incubate. Oh, that'll be fun to see the difference between the duck and the chicken eggs. Oh my goodness. That should be a great thing. You're so generous, Kiri. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So, Dave, how many gallons have you gotten so far? Or I guess like how many gallons of sap? And then has everything cooked down by now, or or are you still in the middle of all that? Um, long time, no too much going on the last few months. I totally get it. I really do. I understand. It's so much going on all the time. It's and why is that for us? I mean, for one thing, I know that life these days, there's just so many different interests available out there for us that we can go to, but especially me as a creative person, it's like, "Ooh, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do" and it's like, "Oh," and then when people find out I'm good at something, then they're just like, "Oh, you can do this," like, I played for the retreat a couple weeks ago, and I got an email and said, "Hey, can you come play for a whole weekend for this one in May, and then you could come do this, and then you can" and I'm like, "No." It's like, no, that's okay. So anyway, 188 gallons so far. Oh my goodness. 4 to 5 gallons of syrup. Now, will that last you pretty much all year, just for you and Monique? Just wondering. Um, oh, okay, so I'll say Patty. I just don't see Patty on here unless somebody else is Patty. Oh, there wait a minute. Oh, Grammy Karen, hello. I didn't see you on there, sorry. Oh, there's just so many, things coming through, so you lost your mom in December. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that is a lot. I totally get it. I totally understand. We give it away like crazy. It will still last 2 to 3 years? Wow. Oh my goodness. You probably have it in, like, 4-ounce bottles or something, right? Because it's, like, gold, liquid gold. Oh, um, you're welcome. Oh, Farmer Dell. Yeah, I just I no, I truly understand because Both my parents and a brother and a sister-in-law within 20 months, um, within the last couple of years. So, I know how that is. Believe me, I know. Um, yep, Jen's mom. You getting more work? Oh, good. So chocolate products for Oh my goodness. Alicia, that's so great. I love how you're able to do all that from home and put all of that out and that's so great. Use your creativity there. And so many people want to buy local when they go to places like that for sure. And so, be able to provide something from, that's homemade from the area, a local product. That's great. That is wonderful. So, oh, sorry, you deleted before I could read the rest of it. So, um, anyway, no, that's great. You went to move your aloe vera plants outside and one is flowering. Woo, yay! I hear that Texas is cold right now, though, um, because I don't know if any of you follow The Chosen, but I get I'm the Dallas Jenkins is the director for that TV series, and he has put out the ability to be able to receive text from him once in a while, and we get like specials and then different messages from him and then prayer requests and stuff. So anyway, they started today filming the first episode for season 4. And so he sent out a thing and he's like, it was morning and he goes, "It is so cold here." Well, I don't know where he was actually coming from, but it was like, okay, it's about 7 degrees here. I don't know how cold it is there, if it's 50 or something. I don't know, but so it's in the 80s right now. Okay, good. Oh, no worries. You found out during the live stream last week that yes, you did. Oh, I know it. Those kind of things really, really just stun you. You're sweating, Carrie. Better than yesterday. Oh, Michigan Daffodil. That's ouchy. Um, yeah. So, guys, well, hello. So good to see you. So good to see you. We've been melting. We have not been getting really above freezing at all, but we've had some days where it's sunny and with the sun higher in the sky now, it's hitting and melting things. So we're probably down maybe a foot. I still got a good 2.5 feet of snow out there, but things are melting and we're getting more snow this week. Yay! We got 3 days listed for 40 and 50% chance of snow, so, we'll see, but I'm not getting above freezing until Sunday is the forecast. So we're still below freezing. In fact, tomorrow night, I think it is, Tuesday night, we're supposed to be 4 below 0 Fahrenheit. So it's like we're still in the negatives here with April coming on. So that's a little bit much, you know, just a little bit much. Everybody's like so done with this. You're melting really fast. Oh, good. Um, hey Eli, good evening to you. Better answer some friends' prayers. Oh, super. That's awesome. 83 inside the house. Yes. Yeah, we're getting there. It's gonna take a little while. We're definitely still below normal temperatures here, but I'm considering we won't be above freezing until, Sunday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I talked to a landscaper today and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know when spring is it might be June before spring gets here." So, we'll have to see. I think our seasons are kinda all mixed up here. Um, yeah, it's been a weird winter because 'cause we've had a lot more winter rain than normal. When it's rain snow mix or it just rains and then it ices everything over, freezes up, and that just hasn't been normal. So, Sean, hello. 3 feet on the ground, but once it starts, it'll be gone in no time. 49s all week. You are warmer than I am. Nice, up in Alaska. And Sean, your cabin is looking so great. I'm sure it feels so good to be in there where it's warm and you've got elbow room. You can stretch out and different things. So that is awesome. You had a 1/4 inch ice Saturday, 6+ inches of snow. Wow. I don't remember. Oh, 40. That 9 and 0 right next to each other on the keyboard. But 40s, those are good temps. Very, very good temps. So, now that you're past spring, you're at the point where you're probably almost getting more daylight than I am because we're past the vernal equinox, right? Yes. There's so much room. He's he he's got 800 square feet, and he's just wandering around wondering what to do with the space, right? Echoes. Oh, that's funny. Um, but, over 12 hours a day now. Wow. I Let me see what mine is. Man, I'm gone for a weekend, and I come back and my emails had just blown up, and I was like, "What?" Um, I had this little I have this little app that's sunrise and sunset time, which is kinda nice. I've got 12 hours and 30 minutes of daylight right now, which is considerably more than the 7.5 hours I used to have 3 months ago. So we've already gained almost 5 hours in a day of daylight. That's pretty good. So 7:10 in the morning is when our sun comes up, and 7:40 is sunset. So, sunrise 7:44, sunset 8:36. Wow, okay. So that is good. That's, a little over an hour more than me. So that's good. That's almost 13 and a half, almost 14 hours. Yeehaw. You're 6:36 to 7:05. Okay. See, I've got this little app. It gives me the date and sunrise, sunset, and then the, times. Is that backwards for you guys? It might be. But then I can go to any day and it's like, "Okay, what's it gonna be like in June?" And then it'll tell me 5:30 to 9:13. So, anyway, it's kind of a neat little app. Oh, okay, so it wasn't backwards for you. Oh, that's good. Um, so Dave has been tapping trees. How long have you been tapping now? Because you said you normally go 5 to 7 weeks. So how long has it been going for you? And you need that app. Okay. Uh, it also has the moon. It's called Sunrise and Fall. Let me see if I can show you. It's the middle one on the top. Sunrise and Fall. And usually does it have the moon phases? No. Hmm. I had another one that's got the moon phases on it, so I thought this one maybe did, but it doesn't. So, oh, yeah, it's a different app that has moon phases. So, uh, you go to the Weather Network for up to 2 weeks out. Yeah, your best tenant has more eggs than we can eat. Well, that's good. That's good. You tap the first week of February is basically done running now, very slow. Okay. First week, yeah, that would be a good 7 weeks for you, almost 8 weeks that it's been running. So very good. That's so great. Um, so I- Matt last week, or Matt and Sarah, for anybody who doesn't know, he was mentioning you're boiling again this weekend. Okay. Are you able to keep the sap in containers outside? Or, I mean, because it would freeze outside probably if it's below freezing, but, and I know that you can take the frozen sap chunks and melt them down and stuff like that. Um, how long can you keep the sap before it might turn on you or something? Just wondering how long you have until it's really a have to start to boil it down to syrup. So if it's cool, it stores 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. Hey, JMB. Hello. It gets cloudy and ferments if you. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Well, it's so sugar based. So yeah, so it's fermenting. Makes total sense. Absolutely. So Matt had mentioned last week that they were tapping their walnut trees, and he said that it tasted like pecans, right? Or pecan pie, kind of, So anyway, so it got me thinking. It was like, well, I know I can tap birch trees, and my birch trees, they pour sap out for about 2 months, like on top of my car and all over the sidewalk and everywhere else. So the so I was like, okay, what other trees can be tapped? And it's like, yeah, walnut trees. He was doing walnut. Um, so I did a little bit of research, and so we're going to kind of go through all the different trees that we can tap. And then a lot of them will have like kind of what the flavors are, the differences and different things like that. And I put the links below in the show notes for you to go back and research, look through that and different things like that if you want to. So I'm just going to kind of read through and skip through some of this stuff, but it was really pretty interesting. And I don't want to try to put my own words to it because, like, why should I? I mean, it's already explained, right? Okay, so this says there are 10 different species of maple trees that could be tapped for syrup. Each produces a syrup with a slightly different flavor profile. The differences are subtle, and the species has less to do with the final flavor than other seasonal and local factors. So, really, the season and what's happening locally and different things like that is more to do with the particular flavor. I mean, I could have a sugar maple, Dave can have a sugar maple, Alicia could have a sugar maple. We could have all three different flavors with that, right? You have swamp maple? I never came across that. Wow. Okay. Um, so it says, regardless of the maple species, the syrup flavor will be determined largely by, again, your unique climate, the weather that year, and the time of the season when it was boiled. If you boiled it early in the season or later in the season, like Dave said, if you wait 2 to 3 weeks and you boil it, you're going to have a little different flavor than if you boil it right away. So Dave, what is the difference in the flavor then? If you boil it right away, is it sweeter? Are you getting um, the mapley flavor more than if you wait? Does it, like you said, starts to ferment a little bit after 2 to 3 weeks? So if you're boiling it later in that sense, is there a little bit more of a tang to it or something? So you probably can tap any tree, but you wouldn't want to. Yes, and at the end, I'm going to talk about what trees have toxic sap, ones that you do not want to tap. And the I was watching. I don't know if any of you have watched Modern Self-Reliance. Kevin on there. Oh my gosh, he started his channel like 2 years ago. In 6 months, he was up to 90,000 subscribers. He's now up to, I think, 321,000 or something like that. he does all kinds of crazy stuff, but he builds all of these little cabins and different hidey holes and different things like he did a Japanese spider hole, and he's done, um, round, ball cabins and, that hang from things, and he's just done all kinds of things, but he builds most of it out of not only the trees that he harvests from his woods, from his land, but also from a lot of scrap and a lot of, just things that he picks up along the way. And so he's in Ontario, Northern Ontario, and anyway, he was showing about, he was cutting down a tree and showing um, the inside of the tree from the cut about where the sap runs. And so, and showing that on the tree. So you've got this is the tree that you and then the cut, right? The tree, and so you've got your inner, part of the tree, and then you've got your sap, um, I can't remember what he called it. It's not the bark, but it's the sap, not even a ring, but it covers, like, the outer 2 to 3 inches of it, and that is where the sap is running in the trees. The early syrup is the grade A amber. Oh, Cambion layer. Thank you, thank you. So anyway, and that's why when you set your tap, you only wanna go in, you know, 2 inches at the most, and we'll talk more about that tree, about how big the tree needs to be and all that kinda stuff. But anyway, um, Cambion or cadmium? Oh, we've got some, difference of opinion here. I'll let you guys duke it out. But anyway, it's a great video that he was showing it. You guys should check him out if you haven't seen any of his stuff. He's a little on the crazy side, but he's so good. He's high energy, ADD, and I mean, he's great. His brother Chris has, I believe, his channel is the Bearded Woodsman, and so anyway, um, so he was talking about this, and he built a sugar shack, what he calls it, and so he built this whole syruping thing. So because they're in Canada, they've got lots of maple syrup, and so he goes on taps and runs a whole bunch through, and it's just like so crazy. But anyway, sorry about that whole side thing. But anyway, it was fun. It was great to see that, and kind of get a good visual of where the sap is running in the tree. Um, so anyway, so no two maple syrups are exactly alike. Each has its own unique qualities in much the same way that regionally specific fine wines boast. And I would imagine, Dave, that you've probably experienced tapping, and then each year has a little bit even different flavor from the year before. So, all that kind of stuff. So, for the most part, commercial sugar makers only use densely planted sugar maple stands for syrup production. At home, feel free to experiment with any of these 10 syrup producing maple species. Hey, hi, Tim. How are you doing? So, sugar maples are by far the first choice for use in maple syrup production. They have the highest sugar content, the best yield, and the longest sugaring season. On average, sugar maples will produce for 20 days across a 6-week season and produce roughly 1 quart of syrup for each tree tapped. So if you want a gallon, you need to tap at least 4 trees, right? Some trees, the sap is different color too. Some is clear, some is yellow. Changes. Oh, nice. Um, let me see. Then you get sugar maple. Then you have black maple. Commonly confused with sugar maples, black maples produce a very similar sap. It's nearly as sweet, and the trees produce at about the same time. Black maples have a more limited range and are found further west throughout Illinois and the Great Lakes states. It is liquid gold, yes. Yeah, considering the energy it takes to boil it down. Now, if you have a whole stack of firewood that you've been able to harvest yourself and everything, and I think I don't know, Dave, do you? Because I've seen others that have outdoor, um, boilers and stuff like that, and you just keep it going like that, so, yeah. Mill scraps, there you go. Um, so, okay, then red maple. So we have the sugar, the black, now red maple. Some of the others are also silver maple, a Norway maple, big leaf maple, big tooth maple, so I'll get to all of those too. So red maple. Unless you've marked trees in the fall, it can be hard to tell the difference between a red maple and a sugar maple. Red maples have a high sugar content in their sap, but not quite as high as sugar maples. It's reported to be roughly 1.5 to 2% sugar as compared to the sugar in black maples, which have 2 to 2.5% sugar. So, about a third of the amount almost. Um, you're in Illinois, you've never heard of black maple. You'll have to check that out. And maybe, if nobody else knows about it, ooh, you could have the run on maple there. Bourbon barrel aged maple syrup is amazing. Ooh, just like here. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you could put some bourbon in the syrup as it's boiling, the sap as it's boiling. It'll boil out all of the alcohol. It'll just have the flavor left in there too. So, unless you bark trees in the fall, you might accidentally tap a few oak skids. Aw, Dave. Yep. Gotta learn that bark, right? Learn what it is. So, um, red maples tend to grow on wet and waterlogged soils that are marginal for sugar maples. So they are used for maple syrup production in a pinch because it would be really mucky to get there. Unfortunately, red maples tend to break bud early in the spring, cutting the sugaring season short. Once a tree breaks bud or begins to leaf in, the sap begins to take on a grassy taste and is less desirable. Sugar makers consider this green syrup inferior, but it's still perfectly fine for home use. If we wouldn't want to buy it, why would we just make it for the home use? I don't know. It's like I'd want to make something that tastes better than what you can get out there, you know? Maple festivals every year. Oh, that'd be so great. Um, the silver maple. Silver maples are a particularly beautiful tree. We have a lot of those around here, with leaves that are pointier in shape than the large maple hands on sugar maple trees. The leaves also take on a silvery hue as they are blown in the wind. And they are beautiful. They really are. Hey, Donna, you're here. Yes, you are. Like red maples, silver maples tend to leaf early in the spring, cutting the sugaring season short. Take care to stop tapping as they begin to break bud to avoid the grassy syrup. Beyond that, silver maples produce a lot of sugar sand, which is excess minerals that need to be filtered out of the syrup, the final syrup. When they make syrup, they don't filter it. Oh, we let it settle to the bottom of the jar. This is somebody else speaking from their website. And again, I have these links below so that you can read through them enough. So, good friend has a 4 foot wide, 4 foot wide. Oh my goodness, that is huge. There you go. When they make the syrup, they don't filter that sugar sand. They let it settle to the bottom of the jar and then eat it with a spoon or on toast. Oh, it's kind of like honey when it gets granulated, probably. Oh, that's like a wet maple sugar, right? Mm. It's delicious, and I tell myself that it's a great way to get my minerals. She's funny. Uh, Nonetheless, it clogs up the works in commercial operations, making silver maple the fourth choice. So his sand, filter out your sugar sand. Okay. Um, so then we have Norway maple. The sap of Norway maples is not quite as sweet as sugar maples, but the tree is quite common in some areas. It's actually considered invasive by some since it tolerates conditions normal maples can't handle. The taste is quite similar to sugar maple syrup. So if anybody, hey Connie, anybody has Norway maples, probably in Norway they would have some. But if anybody has a Norway maple, and if you don't know what trees you have around, that's for you to research and different things. So I don't have pictures of all the trees. I'm talking sap here tonight. And that's it. Our sappy conversation. Okay. Another one is 5 gallons granulated is the norm. Yeah. Box elder trees. Now we get the box elder bugs around here all the time. And it's like, I don't know if I would even know how to identify the tree. I can identify the bugs, but I can't identify the trees. They are a small, scrubby form of maple that is heavily used in northern Canada, where land is marginal and prime trees are less available. So your Canucks, then you can go in the northern part, get your box elders. Yeah, Tim, I don't know you'd have to find out what the tree is there. So, the red burgundy ones, they're invasive here. Oh, okay. Well, if you can't stand them and they're invasive, take advantage of them. God put them there for a reason. It's like, get all that sap. Um, but it takes roughly 40 gallons of sugar maple sap to make a gallon of maple syrup. Box elder takes 60 or more gallons to boil into a gallon of syrup due to its lower sugar content. Since they're generally small, each tree also produces less than a large sugar maple. For the most part, they're only used for syrup if the land is unsuitable for anything else. The syrup tends to taste a bit like sorghum syrup, so it's not quite that same maple leaf flavor you're used to. Sorghum would be almost more like a molassesy type of taste, probably. Oh, because of all the bugs. There we go. Um, hmm. A few apps that you can download and with it take a picture of a plant. Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea, Donna. If you're not sure what your tree is, yeah, check it out. All right. Then we have big leaf maple. I'm only on page 3 out of 15 here, so I've got to get moving here. A big leaf maple is a maple species used for syrup in the Pacific Northwest. So anybody, Connie, you're there from the Pacific Northwest. It grows all the way from Alaska down through California. Keep in mind that though it grows out west, I don't know if Sean is still here. Did Sean leave? He said be right back. He's probably getting a steak off the grill, probably. Um, anyway, so I'll have to see if he's got big leaf maples there. But keep in mind that though it grows out west, to produce syrup, you need nights below freezing and daytime temperatures around 40 degrees. That's not common across the range of big leaf maple south of Alaska. So, yeah, probably, even though they've got the trees, yeah, being able to tap them wouldn't be available there. Okay, a big tooth. Big tooth maple. Native to the interior of the United States, mostly out west, big tooth maple is very similar to sugar maple. Yields are somewhat lower, and again, keep in mind this tree will only produce with freezing overnight temperatures and daytime highs in the 40s. But none in your yard. Okay. Now, Rocky Mountain maple. Rocky Mountain maple is another maple species native to western North America. Though technically tappable, springtime temperatures are not often right for a sap run. So, which I can understand in the mountainous areas and stuff. Now, this one is a different different name. It's called Goroso, I think. Gorosoe. Let me type that in here. Groosoe. There we go. That's the name of this next tree. And it is a species of maple, but it's tapped in Korea. So that one grows in Korea. This tree has been tapped for its sap for millennia, though the sap is not generally cooked down into syrup. This is really funny. You guys will find this funny. The people of South Korea drink the sap for its health benefits. According to the New York Times, Korean people are said to go on sap drinking binges, consuming literally gallons in a day in a hot room. The theory is to sweat out the bad stuff and replace it with health-giving maple sap. You'd be leaking sap just like the trees by that point, I would think. I'm like, has anybody ever done that? That would be you guys, you gotta fess up if that's something you've done. Hey, Caitlin, hello. Swamp maple is a red maple. Oh, okay. Thanks for looking that up, Dave. That's great. So Goroso sap is mildly sweet and tastes a bit like weak green tea. So I guess if they're used to green tea all the time, it's like, "Ooh, this is even better." In Korea, the uncooked sap sells for about $7 a gallon. That actually works out to be much more expensive than sap cooked into syrup in the States. Though you can cook Goroso sap into syrup, that's not how it's traditionally consumed. In North America, tree sap is becoming a popular spring beverage. Did you know that? Taking it and just drinking it. A few producers are even canning it up as, get this, fresh maple seltzer. It's just sap and carbonated water or something. You probably smell like a maple tree. So true, Carrie. Um, so, I guess that's a new thing, drinking maple sap. And I mean, I know it's like refreshing if you're out in the woods and different things like that, and the sap is running. It's like, and it's great if you get stranded out there and you need something to drink. By all means, drink some tree sap, as long as it's trees that are not toxic, not sappy. But it's given 2 salmonberry bushes this weekend. Ooh, salmonberry! I have never heard of those. I'll have to look that up. Um, Now we're going on. That's all the maple trees. Now we're going on to birch trees. So I still have a lot of information to get through. I'll have to go fast here. So tapping birch trees for syrup. Birch syrup has been used by traditional peoples in what is now called Norway and Sweden since long before the discovery of the New World. It's just starting to be commercially produced throughout the world, with several producers in the United States selling it at high prices. Similar to raspberries. Very cool. Birch syrup requires more energy to produce as it takes 110 gallons. So we talked about sugar maples. They were like, was it 40 gallons, I think, to 1 gallon? Was it 40 gallons of sap to 1 gallon of syrup, or 1 quart of syrup? I think it was 1 gallon. This takes 110 gallons to cook down into 1 gallon for a birch syrup. Some maple syrup producers are actually adding birch syrup on as a sideline. You finish up tree tapping next week if needed. Ooh, part 2. Wonderful. Birch trees produce a bit later than maple trees. They require daytime temps in the 40s and 50s and often produce in April, just as maple trees are finishing their sap run. So, Dave, if you've got birches, you can start tapping those as your maples are done. I have river birch trees in the front, and I would say their sap starts running around in the middle of May, and they can they can drip and run. I mean, You get if you have a fresh cut, like if I trimmed a branch in, the fall, it can, even though you think that it's healed over, it can run and just pour out, sap for, like, 2 months. I'm like, "What? Come on, the tree needs this. It shouldn't be running out." So, anyway, whenever I do make a cut, I try to spray it or something. They're still pretty small. Okay. Um, Birch trees only produce for about, oh, they say only for 2 weeks. Mine go a lot longer than that. So it can be a quick way to get a last little bit of syrup made before you put away your tapping gear for the year. In 2018, maples began producing in their area in late February. Birch trees started in April. Um, it's got a high price tag along because it takes so much, 110 gallons. That's almost 3 times the amount of sap for the final product. So it is more expensive. It's got a delicious, distinctive flavor. It's selling for $25 for an 8-ounce bottle, birch syrup. That was, you could have part 2 of tree tapping. Oh, that's what you were talking about. I could do that. I could do that because, yeah, I'm only on page 6 out of 15. I might have to do that. Oh, so we'll get through all the birches. We'll get through the maples and the birches, and we could talk about other trees next week. I could maybe do that. Um, Traditionally, birch syrup was used as a sweetener, made into vinegar, fermented into liquors, wines, and ales, as well as having uses in traditional medicine. Who'd have thought? The old birch tree sitting out there. We thought it was only good for paper. Um, Tap those, yeah, get it in pails so I don't have it. That's a good idea. Yep. Okay, Dave says sugar maple 40 to 1, red maples are 60 to 1. Okay, yep. Um, okay, so the birch syrup for the traditional medicine is reported to have been used for ailments ranging from topical rashes to scurvy. So any of you out on your ship, with the pirate's eye, and you're getting the scurvy, you just make sure you have some birch syrup with you. Okay. So it's made into vinegar, fermented into liquors, wines, ales. Wow. They do a lot with the birch. So birch sap is more acidic than maple sap and has a tendency to eat away at traditional maple sap buckets. Another reason when it pours on my car, I have to go get it washed off as often as I can because it's going to ruin my paint. These days, producers use plastic tubing and spouts, and historically, it would have been collected using sumac or elderberry taps into bark or wood buckets. Ooh, a bark bucket. Have you guys ever seen those? I have never seen a bark bucket. I've only seen, like the 5-gallon pails out there or the tin, um, kind of galvanized tin buckets and everything that are out there. But I've never seen a bark bucket. That would be kind of cool. Um, Elderberry taps. See, I thought elderberries were more bushes and not even a tree that you could tap. So you've seen tree bags hanging. Never saw sap run. Okay. That could be very much, Carrie, that it never got cold enough. So, um, okay, paper birch. Paper birch has the highest sugar content of all the birches and is considered the best for commercial tapping. Still, the sugar content is less than 1% on average, and it takes almost 3 times as much paper birch sap to make a gallon of syrup as it does from maple. Yellow birch. Studies have shown that yellow birch contains the highest levels of antioxidants. Woohoo! Okay, anybody have a yellow birch around their yard? Um, you have a few paper birch. Okay. Tree. Oh, all over Amish country here. Oh, I can bet. Tree bags. Oh, that's right, I have seen those. Are you talking about, like, the kinda like a clear vinyl bucket almost? I mean, or a bag? It's almost like the water bags that you can bring camping and stuff like that, and then they just, like, hang in there and they just fill those up? Or is it something a different kind of bag? A tree bag. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so yellow birch, yeah, has the highest levels of antioxidants, making it desirable for syrup production. Uh, you gotta think about that. It's like, here you have this pure sweet syrup that's going to, I don't know, it's like, how do the antioxidants work in a pure syrup? I'm just thinking of, like, I mean, usually they're in vegetables and fruits and different things like that, and I don't know how that works. I'm just thinking of it's like clear or silver bags. Okay. Um, Picked up your grass-fed beef, the gal was cooking down her syrup. Cool. Very, very neat. I just like, how and if that's the case, it's like, "Ooh, I would have my syrup all over everything because 'cause I'm getting my antioxidants." But my blood sugar is gonna be through the roof. I just like, oh, yellow bags. So anyway, so some Canadian producers are selling especially made yellow birch syrup just for that reason. Well, you can sell anything, couldn't you? It's like, this is high in antioxidants. But, more than teaspoonful of, what was it? A spoonful of sugar, a spoonful of syrup. Oh my goodness. I don't know. There's a real dichotomy there. I don't get it. So, okay. So yellow birch has a lower sugar content than paper birch, and it breaks bud early, meaning a very short season, less than 2 weeks. This makes yellow birch syrup hard to come by, but the finished syrup has a pronounced caramel flavor. Ooh. Oh my goodness. How they could sell that, caramel flavor with antioxidants? Oh my goodness. Many have buckets here, but bags have been around 8 to 10 years. Oh, okay. Plant those yellow birch trees, guys. If you're trying to figure out what other trees to plant, that you don't need any more apple trees, you don't need any more, peach trees or nut trees or anything like that. It's like, okay, we'll get into the nut trees next week. So, thank you, Michigan daffodils. So, I've already gotten my whole, agenda for next week now. So 'cause I'm just gonna get through these birch trees, and that'll be about it. So, um, now we get into the black birch. I've never heard of a black birch tree. Ooh, there we go. Where's Sean? Black birch is a variety that is traditionally used and is often fermented into beer. So we need Sean here because he likes his beer. So it's like, you have black birch all around your chicken coop. Oh, well, don't let them get into that sap because you'll have a you'll have a lot of tipsy chickens. Those eggs will really have a flavor to them. What are we talking about? Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. I can see Dave out there. It's like, okay, I want to go tap those birch trees now. So you have black birch, you have paper birch. Very good. All right, river birch. Those are the ones that I have. Um, This birch species is common in the southeastern United States, which is why I struggle growing them, having them stay alive all summer, but oh well. The southeastern United States, and it has been planted as an ornamental tree in other regions. Though production is marginal, river birch will make syrup. I don't know, I get a lot of sap out of mine, but and white birch. You have white birch too. Okay. Gray birch Likewise, gray birch can make syrup, but only in a pinch. It's more of a shrub than a tree, and it rarely grows large enough to be worth the effort. Um, then there's a European white birch, which is probably what Dave was talking about too. Oh, well, maybe not. It's a cousin to the American white birch. European white birch can be used successfully for making birch syrup. Yellow, like yellow snow. There you go. Hey, Patty, how are you? You missed all our tapping. We did a bunch of toe tapping here tonight. You can tell I'm tired. Okay, so um, we'll pick up on the other trees next week. So we talked about all the maples and the birches, but now I want to kind of go over. I also put a link down there for it's from the Minnesota DNR on how to tap and make maple syrup. So if nobody's ever done it before, yes, there's YouTube University out there with tons of information and things to do out there. And you can do it, but I'll just kind of briefly talk about just a few basic things, and it's like, first of all, the trees need to be, let me see. I don't have it here. So, okay. You need a tree that's at least 10 inches in diameter. Diameter is the distance across, not around, but across, okay, from one side to the other. If it's less than 10 inches around, you don't tap it at all, because remember I talked about it's got to have enough of a tapping ring. If it's small and you put a tap in there, you're going to go right into the very core of the tree, and that's like um, you're going to kill it. So you don't want to be tapping into that. So the wider so you want it at least 10 inches. And okay, this is 10 inches here. So, get your own ruler and measuring tape out there. But yeah, so it's 10 inches. And if you can't figure out how to hold it up next to the tree and kind of figure it out what the diameter is, do the, measure it around the tree and then divide it by 3.14567 or something like that. I was 0.314, but I don't remember all the other numbers for pi. But anyway, so if you get a circumference of 35 inches or something, then divide it. Our buddy pi. There you go. Yeah, use a measuring tape. There you go. Oh, no worries, Patty. No worries. You got to take care of business there. So anyway, if it's I know I love these. I got these with my it was like a standard or required, I should say, part of my art kit when I was in school to for design and stuff like that. So it's got a cork on the back so it doesn't slide around when you're doing that, and it's like, yeah. So there you go, Dave. 10 inches across is close to 32 inches around. There you are. What is Adele saying now? Okay, so minimum 10 inches. You can put in one tap if it's a minimum 10 inches. From 10 to 14 inches is one tap. So all of a sudden now you're at 14 inches in diameter. That's a pretty healthy tree. But that's still only one tap. You need 15. So here's 15 inches to 19, which is off the ruler here, in diameter. So 15 to 19 inches, you can put in 2 taps. 20 to 24 inches, you can put in 3. And then 25 inches or larger in diameter, you can put in 4 taps. So I would think most trees that you find around are going to be able to put in 1 tap. Generally, maybe 2. So yeah, 1 to 2. There you go. So anyway, there's lots of places out there, lots of videos that show all your different equipment. Easiest with, you need to drill the hole. Again, drill it at an upward angle there so that the sap is running down and can run out. Your your little what is the spout, the spile that goes in there, a little spout, and so, you wanna tap it in there so it can run out. You don't wanna put it even or up. I mean, it's like then it just kinda sits down, you're not getting anything. So, you are there to get the sap. So, you wanna put it in there. So, you need a drill. You can either do a power drill or a hand crank drill or something if you wanna go old school on that. Hammer, buckets, milk jugs, whatever it is for collecting the, sap. Um, Large boiling pan, candy thermometer, cheesecloth or something, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that PDF that's there, it's in the, show notes below, gives through all of the specifics on how to tap, what trees could be tapped, and when to tap them, basically everything that we've talked about. Now, this is more specific to Minnesota, so kind of deal with what you need to in your area. That goes through how to tap the tree, how to drill the hole. You want it to be 2 to 4 feet above the ground. Now, you also have to account for if you've got 3 feet of snow, do you wanna go up another 3 feet? And probably not, because then that's 6 feet off the ground, and then what happens if in the 2 weeks that you're tapping or 3 or 5 weeks or something, all that snow melts and all of a sudden you're trying to, you know, try and deal with somebody that's 6 feet off the ground and you're only 5'2". That makes it a little bit difficult, right? So, hopefully, when you move to the new place, you have some maples to tap. Oh, that'd be so wonderful. That'd be great, and good luck with the move. Really super. Hopefully, you can do that. Um, do not hammer the spile too far into the hole, as it may cause the wood around the hole to split, resulting in lost sap flow. So again, if you push it in too far, you can get some splitting in there. The reason that you drill it is so that you can have that nice hole in there, and it will seal up. It'll heal up on its own. You're not killing the tree as long as you're doing it right, and all that kind of stuff. So, um, but anyway, just a few little tips and different things like that are sitting there in that PDF that I put the link there for. And so anyway, it's kind of fun to talk about this. But yeah, we'll get into some of the other trees that next week that we can tap, different nut trees, different things like that, as well as, you know what? I'm going to talk about the ones that you should not. Um, tap into, and then I will go over those again next week. So, the ones that have toxic sap to would be black locust, smoke tree, staghorn sumac, buckthorn. Um, Let me see. Smoke tree. Yeah, do not tap those. Um, Pine trees can be tapped, but the sap is not used for syrup. Instead, it's used for glue and turpentine. I know people have taken some and tried to drink it, um, but it's really, they said they can cook it down and it turns chewy, so it's more of a chewing rosin instead of a drinkable sap in that way. So, um, yeah, buckthorn, sap. So the so you have to do be careful on that. So don't tap that. Yep, pine here you see used it like a glue. And I've seen Sean at on my Self Reliance. He actually showed how to, it's kind of like the old fashioned way of doing things, how to make pine tar out of the sap that ran. So he collected the sap and then put it in a bucket, put it in the ground, put fire, a fire below it or above it, I can't remember. Anyway, and then it turned into a pine tar that he could use to actually seal up, I think it was his roof or something like that. So it was amazing. But yes, use it as glue and different things. So guys, our hour is up already. But Michigan Daffodil, thank you for the recommendation to split it up because I didn't feel like I had to be so rushed then. So it's a great idea. So you guys know what's in store for next week. If if you're interested in finding out more about other trees that you can tap and what's out there, that'd be great. Be excellent. See if it's sap season 2. I have to remember to call it that. SAP season 2. So, all right, guys, you take care. God bless. Always have hope, and you'll have a great week. Enjoy the spring that is starting to come. So it did go fast. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Good night.